right now what's an acceptable body count. That's what you're going to get if you let these guys declare war on my boy.
Remember me?
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2003 action thriller, The Hunted. The film is directed by William Friedkin and it stars Tommy Lee Jones, Benicio del Toro and Connie Nielsen. Now the film focuses on Tommy Lee Jones' character, Lieutenant L.T. Bohan. He is an FBI deep woods tracker who's basically retired. His job was to train soldiers, essentially, to kill and hunt, and he's the best out there. And in his past, he trained Benicio del Toro's character, Hallam, to essentially do that, to silently kill and hunt his prey. And Benicio del Toro's character, Hallam, is a highly decorated soldier. However, he is suffering greatly with PTSD. And he then essentially starts hunting humans in some woods. So they bring Tommy Lee Jones's character on board to try and help them track down the killer. He then discovers who it is, and a cat and mouse game erupts between the two of them, where Benicio del Toro's Hallam is on the run trying to escape, and Tommy Lee Jones's character Bonham is chasing him down, trying to take out his former pupil. Right, what are my thoughts on The Hunted? Well, this is a first-time review for me, first-time watch. Never seen this film before. I've always kind of had it. It's one of those films that I've had on my watch list in my head for a long, long time. And I'll tell you what really made me really want to watch this is I was watching an interview with Sylvester Stallone fairly recently, and he was talking about First Blood. And the issues with that film and so on and so forth, and how his version of John Rambo differed greatly from the version in the book, and essentially, if you don't know, the version of John Rambo in the book is suffering massively PTSD, and he is no hero. He's actually, he brutally kills a lot of people, and at the end of the book he's killed by Lieutenant Troutman, who takes him out. And he said in his interview, that obviously he changed so much of it, and we know how it turned out, First Blood, but he also said that he believed that, the book First Blood had kind of been remade with this film, The Hunted, and he said Benicio del Toro and Tommy Lee Jones, and I was like, oh, I'd heard of the film, I knew of the film, I'd always wanted to check the film out, but that was kind of like, oh, I didn't realise that. And then just recently, after I'd watched this, before I've done this review, I watched a video on YouTube of a guy reviewing or talking about films that are kind of soft remakes or unofficial remakes of, other films. And he brought this one up and he said, this essentially is like an unofficial remake of First Blood. And I'm like, wow. It's just weird sometimes how, the dominoes line up when you're kind of watching a film, and what leads you to really want to watch a film. And that's essentially what took me to this film. And I have to tell you guys, I thoroughly enjoyed this. Thoroughly enjoyed this film. It's not essentially what I expected, but that's not a bad thing either. But I really enjoyed it. I mean, William Friedkin, this is the guy that brought us The Exorcist. He's a fantastic director. I think he's passed away now, but it was such a great film, and Tommy Lee Jones, who I believe was paid an awful lot of money to do this film, he is so brilliant as this character, Bonham, this tracker. The physicality that he needed to take on for this role was vast, and he was not a young man then. And he pulls it off effortlessly. You absolutely believe he is this tracker and he can do all the things that he teaches. And he is fantastic in this film. The physical side of it effortless. And the dialogue and the acting side of it, again, effortless. It's just a fine example of what a great actor Tommy Lee Jones is. And then we've got Benicio del Toro. I mean, it's no accident that Tommy Lee Jones is an Oscar winner, and so is Benicio del Toro, because he is the other side of that coin of Tommy Lee Jones. And they don't just portray Benicio del Toro's character Hallam as this cold-blooded killer. They show him as what he was at the beginning of the film. He was a hero. They show him getting the medal, for his, the acts that he, committed on the battlefield. He was deemed a hero. And they show that quite clearly, the fact that this is not just a simple clear case of someone losing their mind and just going out to kill cold-blooded. No, it's someone who has slipped, and he's suffering greatly with PTSD. And it actually says in the film, he actually wrote to Tommy Lee Jones's character asking for help because he couldn't sleep and he was struggling. And Tommy Lee Jones's character ignored him, essentially, so contributed to his mental collapse, sort of thing, which is probably something that it kind of shows at the end of the film, that he's reading like some of these letters and he ends up burning them. Well, he's got to live for that. He's got to live with that for the rest of his life. The fact that he abandoned essentially this person that he trained, and he didn't help him when he needed it. And there's a great scene when they first meet each other, because it really took me by surprise at the beginning of the film. You see Benicio del Toro's character taking out some hunters in brutal fashion, and then the FBI come on board. Tommy Lee Jones's character is brought in to help track this person down, and he doesn't know who it is initially, and then he tracks him down really quickly, and there's like the face-to-face fairly early in the film, and Benicio del Toro's character kind of he's pleased to see him, and he's kind of like, do you remember me? And he puts his hand out to shake his hand. And Tommy Lee Jones responds by essentially attacking him, and that's what kind of starts the conflict between them. But he was pleased to see him. He's almost like, did you get me letters, sort of thing. Because he can't really see what he's done is wrong, Benicio del Toro's character. And that's how far he has slipped, if you like, in regards to his mental health. But it's not just a black and white film, good and bad. It plays very much in the grey area, this film, and it plays in that grey area brilliantly. And it's not a story about heroes. It's not a story about good guys and bad guys. It's very much a much more nuanced story than that. But make no mistake that when it comes to the action, it delivers. It really does deliver, this film. I thought it was going to be like mostly set in the woods, with Tommy Lee Jones's character spending most of the time in the woods trying to track him down. No, that's not the case at all. You get that in the beginning and at the end, but there's big chunks in the middle where it's set in the city, and there's quite a bit of dialogue along the way, sort of thing, and escape from like prison vans, that kind of stuff. So it's different than what I was anticipating and expecting, but it's also better than what I anticipated. I literally thought it was going to be Tommy Lee Jones's character chasing his character throughout the whole film, like set in the woods, and it wasn't like that at all. It was superbly directed, brilliantly acted, and the physicality and the intensity of the film really, really won me over. I thought it was really, really good. Honestly, guys, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was brilliant. So if you've not seen this one, The Hunted, but you're a fan of First Blood, that kind of stuff, this, if you like I say, it's an unofficial remake of First Blood, but it's more based on the events in the book. The fact that he's suffering massively with PTSD and he's doing bad things and he needs putting down, really. And you know what I mean? And they didn't pull that trigger on First Blood. They didn't go down that route, obviously. Whereas in this one, they absolutely do. So, yeah, check this one out, guys. If you've not seen it, I had a really, really good time with it. And I will see you back here on the channel with plenty more reviews and content very, very soon.